Good day, sweetheart. It's Shibo, your Korean zaddy. Korea stopped copying Western faces. Now your clinic copies Korea's. That is the title, and it means exactly what it says. For 70 years, the whole world believed one story. Koreans get surgery to look Western. That story was true in 1954. It is not true anymore. And I already know the comments are about to split in two. One side is typing, finally somebody said it. The other side is typing, nonsense. Of course they still copy us. Both sides, stay to the ends because one of you is walking out wrong. Today the copying runs the other way. The jawline slimming at your med spa, the glass skin facial, the entire K-beauty page on the menu. That is my country's face. Bad, eh? Being sold back to you in your own zip codes at a markup. It all starts with American Army surgeon and one sentence he wrote about Korean eyes. I'll read that sentence at the end. When I do, you will understand the entire 70 years. You had me, your zaddy is here. First, the scoreboard. The scoreboard. Start with the numbers because the numbers are the whole story. South Korea has the highest rate of plastic surgery on earth. Not the most surgeries. America wins that because America is enormous. Per person, nobody touches Korea. About 1 in every 25 Koreans has had work done. That count includes grandmothers and newborns. Now narrow it to young women. Among Korean women in their 20s, roughly 1 in 3 has had a procedure. Picture 3 young women on a Seoul subway bench. Statistically, one of them. For American women, all ages, the estimate sits around 5%. So Korea runs at about 4 times your country's rate. And the most popular procedure, by a wide margin, is the one this whole story started with. The double eyelid, a small fold cut into the upper eyelid to make the eye look bigger and rounder. Korea performs about 266,000 of these every year. That is more than 700 eyelids per day, weekends included. Which forces the real question, why this country? Why did this one nation, more than any other on the planet, put its face on the operating table? The honest answer begins exactly where the old story says, with copying the West. In 1954, Korea is 1 year out of a war that cut the country in half. The average income is well under $100. Not $100 a week. A year. Food comes off American ships. Jobs come out of American offices. Into this arrives an American Army surgeon named Ralph Millard, sent to rebuild soldiers with burnt faces. And one day, a Korean interpreter walks into his clinic. The interpreter's paycheck depends on one thing, whether American officers trust him. He has decided the problem is his eyes. So he asks the American to reshape them, to make them rounder, more like the surgeon's own. Millard operates, word spreads. Women hoping to marry American soldiers line up next. Millard trains Korean doctors, finishes his tour, goes home, and publishes papers about what he did. In one of them, he writes a sentence about Korean eyes, so insulting that I am saving it for the end of this video. So yes, in 1954, Koreans copied Western faces, and they did it to survive inside the Western world. The old story is true, it just has an expiration date. Because somewhere between that army clinic and today, the copying quietly died. Nobody announced it, but the proof is lying on a desk in Seoul, right now. The desk. The desk is in Gangnam, the beauty district of Seoul. One district, more than 500 clinics, stacked into towers, floor above floor above floor. A vertical city with one product. Walk into any consultation room there and look at the reference photos. The faces customers point to when they say, like this, please. Count the Western faces. 0. Every photo is a Korean actress or a Korean idol. The woman in the chair is not asking to leave her face. She is asking for the best possible Korean version of it. That desk is where the copying ended. There was no ceremony. The photos just changed, and her reasons changed with them. She is not chasing an American husband's trust like the interpreter was. In Korea, your photo goes on your resume. Your face gets judged at job interviews, at matchmaking meetings, everywhere. The pressure is enormous, and it is entirely domestic. Korean faces, judged by Korean eyes, against the Korean standard. And when the standard changed, the knife changed direction with it. Here is the simplest way to see the difference. Western procedures mostly add fuller lips, rounder curves, more, and proudly visible. Korean procedures mostly subtract, slim the jawline, refine the nose, then erase every trace that a doctor was ever in the room. In parts of the West, "you look done" can pass as a compliment. In Seoul, it is a disaster. The highest praise a Korean surgeon can hear is that nobody can tell he exists. There is a word for the goal: 자연스러움, naturalness. Not natural as in untouched. Natural as in built so carefully that the work cannot be found. And this ideal is not a vibe. It has math. Ratios between the eyes, the nose, the chin, measured in millimeters, argued about in medical journals. Korean surgeons will fight over half a millimeter. Half a millimeter is thinner than a credit card. So hold both pictures for a second. 1954. A man points at an American's eyes. Today, a Korean face, refined by Korean math, toward a Korean ideal that no American ever drew. That is what a country looks like when it stops copying. And a country that stops copying and starts perfecting always does the same thing next. It sells. So bad, eh? Let me guess what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, fine. But what the Korean stop at my spa is just a trend. Like Swedish massage. A pretty word from a faraway country. Nobody expects actual sweating inside the Swedish massage. So you assume there is no actual Korea inside your Korean facial. Bad, This is exactly what I thought you would say. Here is what an insider sees instead. A trend is an accident. What reached your city was not an accident. It was a delivery route. Built-in stages over 20 years with your bathroom shelf as the final address. And I can show you the route with the receipt. Follow the boxes. The shipment. Stage 1 was television. The dramas sailed out first, and the faces sailed with them. Then the music, and the faces multiplied. Millions of women, in Europe, in America, watching the same jawlines every night. Stage 2 was the clever one, because stage 2 involved no needles at all, glass skin, a skincare routine, 10 steps, sold at any pharmacy, promising skin so smooth it reflects light. Harmless. Also, the free sample at the border. And here is what the trade numbers did once the sample landed. In 2024, Korea passed France as the #1 seller of beauty products to the United States. Sit with that. France, the country that turned beauty into an industry, beaten inside America by Korea. Out of every $5 America now spends on imported beauty, more than one goes to Seoul. 1 year later, Korea passed America itself and became the world's #2 exporter of cosmetics. Only France still sells more, and the gap is shrinking every year. And my personal favorite, Korea now sells beauty products to France. And that number grew about 70% in a single year. The planes fill up in both directions, by the way. In 2024, around 1.2 million foreign patients flew into Korea for treatment. Land on Monday, fly home Friday, but the last stage of the route is quieter than an airport. It is the menu at your own med spa, changing under your nose. Korean glass skin facial, jawline slimming, Seoul style. A K-beauty page sitting between the waxing and the fillers. The face stopped flying. The face moved in. And why did your side of the world buy it? Because Western taste itself turned. The loud work went out of style. The new Western dream is work that nobody can detect, and which countries spend 70 years turning undetectable into a science. Exactly. Korea did not chase the Western market. The Western market drifted until it landed on Korea's doorstep. So now, hold the two photographs side by side, because this is the entire story in one image. 1954. A Korean man walks into an American clinic with no photo at all and points at the surgeon's Western eyes. 2026. A Western woman walks into a clinic in her own city and slides a photo of a Korean actress across the desk. Same room, same request. The photo turned around. It took a war, 1,000 dramas, and 70 years, but the photo turned around. If this were only a story about taste, we could stop here and it would be a happy ending. We are not stopping here because when a product crosses an ocean, something always falls off the ship. Before you book anything Korean in your city, you need to know what fell. The sticker test. What fell off the ship is the discipline. In Seoul, the word Korean is a passmark. It means the work survived Korean customers. The most trained, most demanding beauty customers alive. Women who measure results in millimeters and post the receipts online. In your city, the word Korean is often just a sticker printed on a menu next to a price, doing all the work by itself. Same letters, different product. Some clinics abroad genuinely learned the discipline. Many bought the sticker. So how do you tell them apart without a medical degree? One question. It costs nothing, and no sticker survives it. At your next consultation, ask this. What would you refuse to do to my face? Then be quiet and watch. A practitioner who carries the discipline answers fast, and the answer is specific. Your jaw does not need slimming. The lift would fight your cheekbones. The look in that photo works on her bones and would fail on yours. A refusal list built from your proportions. That is the discipline talking. Now watch the other type. The sticker type hesitates. Then the answer turns into a tour of the catalog. We could also do this. Many clients add that. There is a package. There is a payment plan. No refusal anywhere. Only stock. So remember the rule. In real Korean beauty, the refusal is the product. Saying no to your money is the one thing a seller cannot fake because it is the one thing that cost them, which leaves the notebook. Time to pay the debt from 1954. Miller goes home from Korea and publishes his famous paper about Korean eyes. The interpreter, he reports, asked to be made into a round eye. And why did the surgeon believe the operation was worth doing? Because in his written, professional, published opinion, the Korean eyelid gives, and I quote, the effect of an expressionless eye sneaking a peep through a slit. He published that in a medical journal as science. The Korean eye filed as a defect. The Western eye prescribed as the cure. That sentence was the starting gun for everything you watched tonight. Now look where the race finished. The eyes he filed as a defect became the reference photo. The faces he corrected became the correction. And the clinics of his own country now sell, at a markup, the exact look his patients once paid to erase. So the next time a menu in your city says Korean, remember that the word has two meanings, the exam and the sticker. And before the mirror comes out, ask your one question. That is the cheat code, sweetheart. And the sticker peels itself off. Before I let you go, my honest take on all of this. People ask me if Korean feels proud watching the whole world copy us back. Some do, I don't. Because I watched both halves of this story, and the direction of the arrow was never the point. In 1954, a man changed his eye to survive somebody else's standard. In 2026, a woman pays to meet a different standard, shipped from my country. The arrow turned around. The business stayed exactly the same. Somebody is always selling the mirror. So take the question I gave you, use it, and keep your own face in charge. Let the industry fight over the rest. You happy? Your zaddy is here. 밥 먹었어? Have you eaten? Don't skip your meals and stay real. I'll see you in the next episode.